You just mentioned you had a job when you were in your 20s or something like that.
People make fun of me when I talk about the stuff that I did in my late teens and early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
I was a firefighter for about four and a half years, lived at a firehouse for a few of those years. I had a professor in cybercrime, Robert Smolik, who started the Maryland State Police Computer Crime Unit and ended up spending, I don't know, it was like a year or two with him at that unit in the early 2000s, which was a pretty formative experience for me for a lot of different reasons. I don't know how the state police came up. I don't remember mentioning them, but that was basically my bridge into my first kind of foray into a professional environment where cybersecurity and all of the things, and quite honestly, like the true evil that technology can enable, became pretty apparent to me.
Interesting. And so, did you also deliver babies?
I've delivered 3 babies. Yes, this is who's preceding these questions.
so I mean, this is great. I've had a wide range of experience in my youth, but I can tell you, I mean, going from cybersecurity firefighter delivering babies. How did you get to delivering babies?
When you're a firefighter, most jurisdictions, they generally want you to become an EMT, and so when somebody either stops by the firehouse or picks up the phone and calls 911, and then somebody decides to send you there, there's no one else that's going to do it.
So you delivered babies in people's houses?
No, never in a house.
Was that one of your proudest moments?
I don't know if I would describe it as a proud moment. None of the stuff in the fire department would I describe as like the proudest moment. It's a weird phase to reflect on. It's almost like a surreal moment would be a better way of describing it.
So, have you ever? Well, I'm sure you have. Whenever you just sit there and kind of assess your life, and those thoughts come up, what's the first thing you think?
About the fire department, or just about my life? So this is very philosophical. Let's go.
Yeah. So, being a firefighter, delivering babies, and you put out fires, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean, all of the above. It is. For many reasons, my experience with the fire service was a very complicated one. And certainly, I know I just said it wasn't one of my proudest moments, but certainly when I reflect on, let's say, the past 20 years, I learned a lot about myself during that period. Is the way I would put it, right? So,
example.
It's hard. It's really hard. I haven't really ever had this conversation with anybody before, except maybe my therapist. But you learn a lot about the world, right? Like people. It's very easy for people to get out and berate and talk negatively about first responders. People have no idea what folks in this world see when when they're responding to 911 calls. Like, you can't even imagine it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a large degree of trauma that happens just in responding to these calls, because there's just things that you have to compartmentalize.